Welcome to the Creative Play and Podcast Network. Join us as we review our favorite RPGs, collectible card games, MMOs, video games, PC games, and bring up interesting topics and things that we'd like to share with everyone. Sit back and enjoy the show.
Hi, this is Kelly, aka Trixie from Ragnarok and Roll, a Scion to Ragnarok story, and Tilda Wimblewick from D&D Journey of the 5th Edition. First off, I would just like to say thank you to everyone for listening to our varied adventures, as well as for rating us on iTunes and rpgpodcast.com. If you haven't rated us yet, we would greatly appreciate it if you could. And if you're looking for more ways to support our efforts, we are now on Patreon, a great site where you can help us continue making more podcasts, as well as some special surprises for our patrons. If you can, please look us up at www.patreon.com/cppn. Every little bit helps. And again, thank you for listening.
Welcome back to the Creative Play and Podcast Network. I'm coming here from Bookmans. I've got my friend Danny here, and we're going to cover a few things that are happening in town, as well as the upcoming Wastelander event that's happening September 17th. So, just for folks that know what post-apocalyptic is and Wastelander, it's great that you know. But for those that have never heard of post-apocalyptic or Wastelander events, Kelly, we've got some definitions. Go ahead and read the one you've got.
Okay, post-apocalyptic, denoting or relating to the time following a nuclear war or other catastrophic event. A post-apocalyptic action picture of the Mad Max type. Tough loner fights for survival against hordes of barbaric scavengers.
I love it. That's beautiful.
And I will go ahead and read
Mad Max 2, The Road Warrior.
Wastelander, a person who not only loves freaking out at the annual end of days blast zone celebration known as Wasteland Weekend, but carries that love into the rest of the year, enjoying such things as, but not limited to, Mad Max, Fallout, The Blood of Heroes, and getting together, finding other Wastelanders to revel in the sun-scorched, bleach-boned, spiked leather goodness of the post-apocalypse. As they say, after months of raiding, the Wastelanders are gathering and heading out to the Mojave to revel in the madness and exult in their spoils. And that one comes from the Urban Dictionary of what a Wastelander is.
Cool.
And then Wikipedia calls apocalyptic and post-apocalyptic fiction is a genre in which global catastrophic risk. The literature is mainly science fiction, science fantasy, and horror fiction, with the apocalypse event typically being climactic, such as runaway climate change, natural, such as impact event, man-made, such as nuclear warfare, medical, such as a plague or virus, whether natural or man-made, or imaginary, such as zombie apocalypse or alien invasion. The story may involve attempts to prevent the apocalyptic event, deal with the impact and consequences of the event itself, or it may be post-apocalyptic, set after the event. The time frame may be immediately after the catastrophe, focusing on the travails or psychology of survivors, the way to maintain the human race as one or together, and considerably later, often including the theme that existence of pre-catastrophic civilization has been forgotten or mythologized. Post-apocalypse stories often take place in non-technical future world, or where the world was only shattered elements of society and technologically remain.
So I think it is a perfect fit that we, as you mentioned, here at Bookmans Speedway are having a post-apocalyptic fair, because we naturally draw in a lot of cosplayers, and the cosplayer community here in Tucson is so huge that we have been trying to give them what they want for a long time. We have actually always had a lot of subgenres in our fiction section. Mm-hmm. We have a post-apocalyptic subgenre. As you guys know, we have steampunk.
Yeah.
Right? We have, the science fiction has several subgenres that go on and on. But the thing that amazes me the most about when I started learning about the Wastelander was that no one ever mentioned my favorite, and what I think personally, no, not offending anyone, is the best post-apocalyptic film, which is A Boy and His Dog.
Oh,
the old, right,
Don
right,
that is an
the
amazing
old Don
one.
Johnson, and we
that
don't want to
is-
give away a spoiler
It is
about
on
how it
Netflix.
ends.
Don't.
Yeah.
Because
But
that's
the ending
a classic.
is worth the whole thing.
Yep.
And so if you want to come to our fair and dress up in overalls and rouge your cheeks, you are totally, I want to see someone with their dog.
Oh my God.
And the beautiful thing is
and yes.
Bookmans is pet friendly.
Bookmans is pet friendly, and if you want to have one of those, like at the Renaissance fairs, how they have those giant turkey legs, you got to have one of those giant turkey legs to like foreshadow what happens later in the movie. But yeah, so I'm excited to do this.
That is like B fabulous B
It is.
goodness.
It's a cult
It is
classic.
such a great movie, and I just saw it not too long ago because a friend of mine hadn't seen it. So I was like, "What do you mean you haven't seen this
seen it,
movie?
Boy, it's not.
That's like not having seen
see,
Star Wars 1 or something."
Now you've
like,
never seen Blood of Heroes, which
So
is
that
one
I
of
have
my
to see.
peripheral favorites with Joan Chen and Rutger Hauer.
Okay, so that's going to have to be
Vincent
something.
and Vincent D'Onofrio. I can never say his name right.
Right.
Yeah, who's on
DeFrio.
I can never say his name, but who's currently on Daredevil as Kingpin. Mm-hmm. It's a fabulous movie, post-apocalyptic. So I highly recommend.
I am definitely going to look at that.
It's based around this awesome
A game,
sport.
a sport, yeah.
And they flesh it out. It's basically an apocalypse.
Joggers.
You have heroes that go from town to town, sports guys who play local teams, and it's an awesome movie.
Yeah.
Well, Bookmans tries to stay, if they can, just a step ahead of the trends or right with them. Like we have our adult coloring club, we try to be on the cutting edge of that, and on and on and on. We got in, luckily, with the steampunk people. What's interesting about Tucson is that there's such an interchange with the cosplay community. Like somebody who's in steampunk is also in Wastelanders, is also in Star Trek, is also in Star Wars, is also in the zombie fair. So you've got people participating
We
in multiple fairs.
cross-pollinate.
You cross-pollinate, and so it's a really organic progression of what goes on. But it's interesting when I was doing the research for this, how much in the larger culture is going on with the Wastelander.
Mm-hmm. It's getting bigger and bigger.
It is getting much bigger because there was kind of a lull, like well maybe not. I didn't go see the last Mad Max movie, but I heard
Fury Road.
that what was her name, the female lead.
Furiosa.
Charlize Theron. Yeah, I heard she was amazing.
Who plays Furiosa.
Yep.
Furiosa,
An awesome
which
character.
Just I really should have seen it because I thought that casting was brilliant. No matter what, if the rest of the movie was stupid, which I don't know that it was, but if it was, I'm sure was brilliant. And the very idea of having a female lead in a Mad Max post-apocalyptic was brilliant.
And she had that awesome arm.
Yeah.
I didn't see the arm, but she shaved her head, which is impressive for any Hollywood actress who's obsessed with looking good. But that's not the only thing coming up. So I guess there's a lot more going on, and the Wastelander theme is taking off. Joss Whedon is now doing a film on the Wastelanders plot. Although the plot is unknown, it is based on the Fallout video game, which was actually the first thing that I found when I was doing the research. And I don't play video games. Do you guys
Yep.
know?
He plays. I don't
Do you
play
play the Fallout?
I play Fallout 4, yep.
So did that actually influence you to become a Wastelander? Or
I was
it the Mad
kind
Max,
of
or-
into the wasteland genre before, mostly from, I'd say, Mad Max. From a young age, you see Mad Max. Or here's a movie title that hasn't been mentioned yet that I know Kelly at least will all, Damnation Alley.
Oh, yes.
Okay, I gotta write that down.
Damnation Alley has Jan Michael Vincent in it. Jan Michael Vincent, I guess.
So this
the
is a little-
Americanized
from the
version.
This is a
70s.
little. I was gonna say that's
Yes.
nice.
This is
I haven't
from
heard
that.
his name in
Yep.
a long time.
Yeah, and it's intriguing. It's very interesting. But yeah, it's a very Damnation Alley, and
The pretense is two military guys in their bunker finally giving up the bunker, and they're traveling to go find what's going on in the best RV
they have
ever.
the best cross-country view.
It's basically this
How convenient.
It's
all-terrain,
It's this
literally.
military all-terrain. Because in the 70s how so many cool sci-fi vehicles were made.
Right, and they
This
thought
is
completely out of the box.
Exactly. This
You know,
is
they
like
just went
the
for it.
ultimate RV that they travel in. It floats in water.
Six,
And the thing about
wheels,
here's-
two partitions so that it
Well,
The
the cool thing
wheels
about
are
those
double.
old movies is that you're not seeing CGI, which I am not a fan of CGI.
Yeah.
That's faking it.
Oh no,
okay,
the cockroaches are real.
Yeah, like when these old 70s movies, those were actually like legitimately built
all practical effects.
things
And what's-
that actually existed in the real world.
What's interesting about Damnation Alley is it's sort of like, it's almost like little chapters. It's almost like you could say short stories, because they travel across this post-apocalyptic world, but each place has a different, like it
complete
looks
different
like
flavor.
complete look different. Like Las Vegas is pretty much like only one casino left, and it's like
Out in
it's
the
just
middle of the
sand
wasteland.
everywhere.
So they probably filmed it out in our desert somewhere.
And then you have like this. Then you have the idea of how the only thing that's going to survive the nuclear war is a
cockroach.
Well, there's this
My
one
most
city
hated
where
bug.
But it's all Madagascar
where it's
cockroaches.
all
and they're gonna
Madagascar
hiss.
hissing cockroaches.
Oh,
no. And then you have.
I just ended there.
Yeah. So then you have the more traditional, more
And there's a bunch of events. And literally, when I watch it, it felt like a role-playing game because it's going from encounter to encounter to encounter. And they're glazing over we're just traveling. We don't need to cover the, like Lord of the Rings. We don't have to cover the 10,000 miles we're going on. We just go from point A to point B, and here's what happens.
That's perfect.
and
'cause
who
it
they
keeps
meet
the-
along the way.
And they actually
keeps the plot fresh.
Exactly. And they.
But
they,
it's very interesting. It's not one that
and
you
it's
would
huge
typically
character
see.
dynamic with the two main characters because you have the young action guy
Who's a character name? Get this. I love. His character's name is Hell. That is his name.
Yep.
Is
Nice.
Hell.
And then you have the older, more staunch,
I already like
traditional military guy who does it the military way.
Right.
And you just have
Old
the
school.
how the two characters play off each other in the shit hit the fan situation, how they choose the situation in each different event. And then, of course, the third party that they pick up.
Well, so don't give it all away for people to see it
But
because they pick up a
definitely-
few people on the way.
And it is
And it either works out or it doesn't. Yeah.
But then the whole point is to try and get to what they think is a place, which is a common theme among post-apocalyptic.
Yes. I'm trying to think of the name of
Eden,
another.
the Shangri-La.
the place that is
Legion.
untouched.
That's the other movie that I'm
Yeah.
thinking about.
Legion was a good one.
I am
With the-
Legion,
and-
or is it just Legion?
No,
Well,
Legion is the
That's
one
more
with-
zombie.
The TV show
no,
Legion, the TV show
yeah,
made
it's
for
a little
Legion is
different.
But
post.
the
But basically,
movie
that
with
The
would
Will
be
movie
Smith?
is more no.
Oh, she's thinking Legend.
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 Yes.
No,
Legion is
actually,
the Angel Apocalyptic
yeah.
one.
Oh, okay.
Legend is definitely
Legend,
Apocalyptic one. Yeah.
Legend is a remake of
Omega
Omega
Man.
Man with Charlton Heston,
Which is a
which is
remake.
based off a short story or based off a story called I Am Legend.
Which was done by
I can't remember.
what's
Was
his
that
name?
also a graphic novel?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was also.
originally a story,
But it was by the classic horror actor who did all the horror movies. The Red
Vincent Price?
Vincent Price, yes. Vincent Price did the original one, which in the original one they're vampires, and he's the as the story goes, he's the monster because he's killing these people. They're the only
Yeah.
normal people left.
So-
they're all vampires, but he thinks of them as monsters.
Yeah.
Because as the
Legion-
last human.
Legion is a biblical apocalypse. It's
Yeah, Legion
which
is the one where it's
different. That's
angels
with
come
Paul
to Earth
Bettany.
and take over and turn people into freaky monster mutants.
That's with Dennis Quaid and Paul Bettany.
But I Am
I've
Legend
got to
is
see
the Will
that.
Smith one. Yeah,
I really
That's
love
more
I Am
horror.
Legend.
Yeah.
That is more
Horror's my
bent-
favorite
Yeah.
genre.
Yeah.
Like when you can get a good horror movie that's
This-
not just full of jump scares.
Actually, no. Then if you like horror movies, I recommend Legion. As
I've seen it here.
not
We
the TV
definitely
show.
In
have
I
it.
Am Legend, I love how in that spoiler alert, how he used the bleach. I love
Yes.
that concept because
Yes.
when you have your
Yes.
mutant or zombies, the bleach protected where he was hiding each night.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
then the
Add some
dog
realism.
mutation too. The
That
fact
was a crushing scene.
that
was a crushing.
I admit I cried during
I
that
did
scene.
too. I did too.
Yeah,
and I love
but
how they
it's not
didn't
easy.
linger on it. They
Yeah,
didn't
they-
linger
they-
on it, which made it even worse.
In a
somehow.
survivor
It was just
situation, he had to pick up
he had
and
no
go.
choice.
He had no time to
He had
mourn.
no
You
choice.
know,
Yeah, and his subsequent mental deterioration as
they
as
actually did a
he's-
great job as a character showing him wearing down from fatigue.
Yeah, he was, which you would.
And the fatigue of the isolation can do to you.
yeah,
And the fact that they kept that scene from Omega Man and I Am Legend, the mannequin scene.
Oh yeah.
Because in Omega Man, he looks and there's
remember
a
this.
yeah, where he looks in the
I've
mannequin
seen
and she
it.
pretends to pose.
Yes.
Which
Oh,
by the way,
that's
if you
a
get a
childhood
chance,
memory.
see all of those movies, especially the
gonna get it
Vincent Price
again.
one. That one's good because
Yeah.
you see
Oh,
the
yeah.
mania because it's Vincent Price. I
Well,
mean,
yeah, of course.
and he basically is
very
a
early.
doctor who
But,
knows that
yeah.
vampire bats cause this rabies mutation that people can only come out at night.
Yes.
Nice. Well, I wanted to ask you a question because, like, when I was planning for this to talk about Wastelanders, the first thing that came to my mind was the classic movie Blade Runner. But that's not really post-apocalyptic.
that's more of a cyberpunk.
That's that is,
Okay.
and that's just a futuristic. That is an idea of what the future will be.
So, like Judge Dredd would be another post-apocalyptic one where they're living in the mega cities because it's all wasteland outside.
Okay.
So
when he goes out to the wastelands, he
Yeah.
runs into the Angel family.
yeah. basically the evil cannibal
if
redneck.
Logan's Run would
It
technically
is.
Rogan's Run is
Logan's Run
apocalyptic.
is, and it is a fantastic
Oh, it's
one.
fantastic.
Protein from the sea.
Yes.
But renew.
Oh, and their silly seeds. So wonderful.
Identify. But yes, that is where basically the world outside has been
Destroyed.
and you don't know why.
Yeah.
But civilization has gone on inside this dome city.
And basically bunkers.
But of course, you can't. Actually, one that most of you might not even know about, which it stars Oliver Reed. It's a kind of post-apocalyptic, futuristic kind of thing. It's called ZPG. It's very interesting. It's bizarre. It's also done in the 70s. But ZPG stands for Zero Population Growth. That the world had become unlivable. And
You definitely see that
they
happening.
live in these cities and stuff, and population is strictly controlled. It's death sentence to have a child if you're not licensed and it's like
Approved and-
exactly they will that type of thing, and resources are the minimum, so people live in these cities, and of course but what's interesting is of course it's very congested, it's type of thing. The idea of fresh food is very, very crazy, type of thing. I think it was filmed around the same time as Soylent Green, type of thing.
Soylent
There was a
Green.
series of those movies
Yeah,
right
exactly,
in that era.
right in that,
Like
that's
late
where we get the
Cold War kind
Damnation
of-
Alleys,
when we were
nuclear
expecting the
Logan's-
inevitable, it's going to
Yeah,
happen.
everyone's waiting for the bomb.
The day after.
Exactly.
That movie, the
Okay.
day after.
No, I don't
Yeah,
traumatized
we don't.
me.
Yeah, Kelly was traumatized.
No,
It's
No, all of us
know
of that
was-
age group-
I read the book that was based off of.
That
okay, which-
that was like a fundamental, foundational moment in so many people's lives.
Yep.
Like when they were little and they watched that movie, like it just scarred them for life.
Yep.
Like we're all gonna die.
or that,
But see, that's the beauty of that movie is because of that. Maybe it prevented us ever having
Maybe
the
it
problem.
did.
Yeah.
Because
Maybe
it
it
taught
did.
us the stupidity of
or
that
no, I
type
was
of
thinking
warfare.
of the day after tomorrow.
You were
which is-
thinking
no,
the
day after tomorrow.
the weather one,
Yeah.
which is also
Which
post-apocalyptic.
I saw that as well.
'Cause the weather
all the
apocalypse.
freezing.
Yeah.
And
But here's one
wolves.
that a lot of the younger folks out there will know. 100. You
100,
get not
yes.
only post-apocalyptic, but you get Wastelanders. It's the theory for the TV show 100 on CW is
Which is based off of a book.
nuclear warfare happened on Earth. Humans got wiped out. Well, we had a bunch of 13 space stations in orbit with people. They moved all their stations together, and they
form
lived
one
for a
big
couple
one.
hundred years in space. Unfortunately, their population's gotten so bad because resources are so
resources.
limited that they end up dropping 100 of their children who are in jail for different things onto the surface to find out if it's livable, because they're going to eventually have to go down.
right.
And you end up finding out that they become referred to as the sky people because they fell from the sky.
Right.
And there's people on the planet, the
grounders.
grounders. And the
But
grounders the warrior
they're very-
grounders are total wastelander. I mean, their armor's like made of tires, spikes, they wear scary
Whatever they could
masks.
find.
Scavenged.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And then you find out there's a third faction, which are basically the mountain men, which are basically survivors in a bunker. But they've been living so long underground, they're basically not able to come to the surface because of the radiation. So you have this great three-faction
Yeah.
thing of the grounders don't trust people because, of course, they live in a tribal situation where tribes
Sure.
fight each other.
Sure.
And then the mountain people kidnap grounders and sky people.
Okay, you're getting
Yeah.
too much of the story.
Too much spoilers. But one,
No, but that's really actually very
If you get
cool.
a chance, 100 is a really good
It is on
post-apocalyptic
Netflix,
one,
too.
and it is on Netflix as well as on demand.
Yeah. At least the first two, three,
Yeah, the first two or three seasons.
2 seasons. So
There's a lot of stuff out there. A lot of
Yes.
A lot of role-playing
fans.
games, a lot of books.
Well, you were gonna. Yes,
the
I was gonna mention that.
this whole idea of post-apocalyptic dystopian has made a resurgence. Think Hunger
Definitely.
Games.
Yeah.
Hunger Games is a
post-apocalyptic.
post-apocalyptic
Yes, it is.
event.
Yeah.
So
They-
was the train, wasn't it? Do you remember that movie?
Yeah,
It was not
the
too
train
long
that
ago,
keeps
the
going
train?
around and around.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so you have these dystopian post-apocalyptic futures has made a resurgence, I think, in literature again, and of course movies and stuff.
What's
So-
in our public consciousness?
Yep.
Exactly. So
Well, you mentioned games and role-playing games, and there's a couple of really cool things. I don't know if people are aware of Wastelanders 2048, which is a Kickstarter card game. And it sounded really cool. It simulates socio-economic, political, apocalyptic city using a card draw. And, you have your typical list of actions: forage, salvage, recruit, assault, control. I could definitely see us getting if I can get a hold of that, getting that
Gaming circle?
Yeah, a little gaming circle. We could demo it at the fair. And Shell Games has, you were talking about role-playing games.
Yeah.
They've got a new role-playing game, Wastelanders. It's all called Wastelanders, but it's built for Twitch. Do you know what Twitch is? What is Twitch?
Twitch is basically where you game online. We actually have a Twitch. We're Creative Playing Podcast.
So is
where
that
you can
technically-
game and then, like, say I can play Fallout 4 and put it on the internet, and you can get and watch it on your phone or your computer while I'm gaming, and you can chat with me in the chat window. So that way I can voice, you can hear my voice while I'm playing, and you can talk to me in text while I'm gaming. And that's how you can, like, share, because we're going to be doing, like, 1889, which is a steampunk game for PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
It's the PlayStation 4 one, where you can basically sit and watch my gameplay. It only keeps most gameplays for about 2 weeks, then it deletes it, but at least that's ways where you can share the game. So say you don't want to sit for 8 hours playing the game yourself, you could actually be playing and listening and get the cutscenes from Twitch.
Oh, interesting. And you can jump in if you want.
Yeah,
if you want to play, then you can jump in.
Depending on some games you can, some you can't. It depends if it's
In
multiplayer
this one,
or
it
not.
says that the viewers can.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, they can earn experience for participating in battles, from controlling the most deadly warrior to just lurking in chat, is how they put it. I mean, that's like not a fair way to categorize it, I don't think.
Twitch
but,
is fun, because that way a lot
it
of people
looked
do like
it.
to just watch and not actually join in the conversations
But
and
isn't
stuff.
that unnerving? I'm not a gamer, but I would think that if I'm playing, well, it's different from video games. Role-playing games is a slower pace, correct?
Yeah.
But what the pictures that they showed of this was that there was, they were showing like people with headsets on and stuff like that. So I was wondering if it was at all video interactive.
Usually,
on
if
this
you're
kind of
like,
thing.
say you're my friend in PlayStation, and it's a multiplayer game, you can jump in with me on the game. So, like, usually I have a few of my friends when we do Destiny and a few other games we game with. All right, so do you have any questions about Twitch?
I do, and I have questions about what I saw on the demo for the Wastelanders strategy role-playing game. It said that people could chat, and you mentioned that people can chat to you when you are role-playing. Now, you see the videos on YouTube about people who are commenting as they play the video game. Those are very popular. They're very funny. But they're not interacting with people, like, let's say, periscoping in or talking to them through a headset and asking questions. And my question to you is, how do you maintain your focus on the game when you have all these people talking in your headset and asking you questions and interacting with you?
Usually one of the biggest ones is folks use a moderator, basically somebody who's got, control in the room, so they can basically pass messages too, so they can be sitting, like, say, across the room and then hold up cue cards, something like that, so you can, not have all your attention pulled away from the screen.
So it's like basically when you call in on a radio show.
Exactly.
There's someone
There's a
filtering
producer.
the calls
Yeah.
and making sure that someone's not going to start screaming in your ear, whatever.
Exactly.
Pull you out if they do.
And they use the
Okay.
band hammer if they need to knock somebody out of the room.
Nice.
They just drop the band hammer on their head.
Get out. Well, in the games that you play, do you have people talking to you? And asking
Usually
questions all the time?
it's just when we Twitch, it actually comes up on your screen on your TV. So while you're playing, there's the game, and then on this side of your screen
commentary.
is the actual commentary going on. And usually it's, when we usually do Destiny and stuff, it's me and 2 or 3 of my friends playing at the same time, and we all see because they
That's
have their
worse,
laps
'cause
of.
You're reading. How are you reading and playing the game? Like,
Usually
that's
you got to be
crazy.
really tactical about your glances. So I'll be gaming and look, then gaming, then look, gaming and then look.
That is crazy multitasking.
It
That's
can
left
get-
brain, right brain.
It can be one of those where you're reading and you
Ping-pong.
die too. That happens a lot. So it's one of those of, it just takes lots of diverted focus and not picking one over the other.
You know what? You should put yourself in a neurology study. No, really, because I just read about this study. Like the people who have,
Oh, I
who are
wanted to have him tested.
Well, people who are bilingual have different brain connections that never go away, that are developed that never go away, and the left and the right brain are communicating in actual neural pathways that didn't exist before. So it sounds to me like that's a similar kind of thing. If you're having to divert your focus both visually, which would be left or right, that's left, and then think and answer questions critically, which would be right brain, you were developing synapses. So I'm wondering, like, how gaming affects the neurology.
And the whole time grabbing a controller that has like 8 different buttons using different fingers.
Right, so then
Using
you're,
2
so
joysticks with your
that's actually
thumbs at the
3
same time.
things you're doing at once, plus the brain is controlling
So the
all
brain
your
stem
buttons.
is controlling the controller.
Right, like do your hats still fit right? You actually
He's got a big
grown?
hat size anyways.
I do 7.5. If there's anyone out there wanting me to show some of your hats on our podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to order an extra large boater for him.
I have a big head too, so I'm in the big head club. I have to wear men's hats. So I thought it was very interesting that there was so much, and just in the few minutes that I took, just kind of bouncing around the internet, looking at the Wastelander, seeing how much was out there and how much was going on, and how timely our fair is going to be, because there is so much public interest all over the place, not even just in the U.S., but all over the place, about the post-apocalyptic Wastelander genre. Yeah. So feel free to come out.
Yeah. And we're going to have vendors selling different products.
We're going to have some amazing vendors. And the thing about Tucson is like a little mecca. It's where all the talented artists and creative types go because they don't want to pay $2,000 a month rent in San Francisco or LA. Mm-hmm. So they come here and then they do their things here, and we have a tremendous artist community. So these people will be representing things that are all handmade, that are all done. They're all original works. So you can get one-of-a-kind pieces of art. Really, really interesting people, and you can actually support local.
Yeah, and are we having authors coming out this time?
We are having a couple of authors.
Can you name drop right now?
I can. James Gurley will be here. James Gurley. He is known typically as premier zombie author because most of his books are about zombies. But he's venturing off into other.
I do love his
last
avenues. One. The pretense for the zombie apocalypse in that one was really well written.
Yeah, he is an amazing person. He is also in a band called Area 51. Oh, hey. And you should follow him on Facebook because he posts some very interesting things. He's a very talented guy. But that's typical of the people in Tucson, how, like I said, the cosplay community is so cross-referencing and how it is so intertwined and how it's so hard to have
wear
like
a lot
a
of
themed
hats.
fair. Hats, yes, we do wear a lot. We wear all the hats.
We wear lots of hats.
We wear all the hats. And everything we make is made by hand. So there's no mass-produced stamped in China.
One of a kind.
So if you want to support local artists, this is the perfect opportunity. And if you want to learn about something, like I didn't know anything about steampunk when you guys had your first steampunk fair here. Mm-hmm. And it was amazing how interesting that was and how many people it pulled in who didn't know what it was, had never heard of tea dueling or the wonderful, fabulous Chemist Tea Girls. And how exciting and fun that is. And it's a lot more involved than just dressing up in period clothes. I mean, there's a lot going on that's incredibly involved, and same with the Wastelander community. A lot of outside events. Get hooked up with that. Yeah, there's no reason to be bored in Tucson. I've heard that there's nothing to do in Tucson. That's a complete lie.
There are tons of events going on.
There always are a million things to do.
I mean, I want to give a shout out to the End of Days group. They're the ones that do Uranium Springs up in northern Arizona. It's
Which
basically
is kind of
a huge
Wastelander
Wastelander camping event. Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we had some great video from that. And Wasteland Weekend, which happens the week after the event here at the store in California, is the big mecca of Wastelander events. Mm-hmm. They've got a Thunderdome where two people go in and boffer fight each other. Mm-hmm. They've got all kinds of crazy stuff that goes on there.
So you have got to attend this fair so that you can get warmed up and get your jargon on, learn what it is, get your feet wet so that you can attend these amazing events, because that's not even role playing. Yeah. That's real life. You're out there in the desert, you're really doing it. You're having the actual experience.
There are a week in a lean-to.
There are some of the
with Twinkies.
That actually, that actually will to try and be as air quotes authentic as possible, because of course apocalypse hasn't happened yet.
Not
yet.
But like they'll actually store their clothes and not wash them
in a tote over the season to the next event.
I could live without that.
Yeah. So, but that's only some people.
When it comes to my apocalyptic cosplay, most of mine is doctored.
Yeah, it's just supposed to be a visual thing. Like I don't need the.
This is very small, but there are some people who do that take it to that extremism.
I can appreciate the commitment to a genre.
Yes, the commitment.
And I can appreciate the ultimate geeking out, which is something we support here at Bookmans. And you like what you like.
Yep.
So I can get behind that all the way. If you're going to do something, you might as well do it all the way. But
and
I don't know.
Danny, you're going to be seriously impressed with some of the people I've got coming out for that event.
I am certain of it.
Because they are amazing cosplayers with some amazing armor that they've got. I mean, just a few of the friends that I know that are definitely coming. Their gear is going to be awesome. You're just going to want to take hundreds of pictures.
Hundreds of pictures. Yes. And you know what? If you attend this fair, you can have your picture taken with these amazing people. Mm-hmm. You can meet this community. And if you are a cosplayer who is new to Tucson, this is something that I want to stress to all those people who are just here and are looking to be part of the community. Come to this fair. Come to Bookmans. go to Creative Cosplay. This is a very welcoming and invitive community. They do not exclude anyone. If you want to be part of a larger artistic community, and be creative and be part of something bigger, you definitely want to attend one of these fairs. You definitely want to talk to James. You definitely want to get in touch with the Steampunk Society. Whatever your thing is, we've got a place for you here. We've got activities for you in a very, very active community. So I strongly encourage you not to sit at your house and just look at this on YouTube.
Or if you just want to learn how to do something.
Yeah.
And yeah, we have makers fairs, and not just here at Bookmans, but all over town. There's all the time, and they're very willing to sit down with you and teach you how to do something.
Yeah, if you want to learn something, the Steampunk group as well as the Wastelander groups, they will walk you through how to make your gear if you want to join in and make your stuff.
Yeah, you don't have to come ready to know everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Not at all.
It's
just with
a
interest.
learning opportunity.
Yeah, just come with your interest. Just come with a desire to learn something, and they're completely welcoming.
And during the event, what other things are going to be going on around the store? We're going to be having a shooting gallery.
We are going to be having shooting gallery. We're going to be having a little area for kids to play in. We're going to be playing some movies. Yeah, we're going to have coloring. We're going to have a photo booth. Yeah, and then the artists and the authors showing their work. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. And what's the time frame for it going to be?
It is the 17th of September from 1 to 3 p.m. No, 11 to 3 p.m. So it's a long stretch. So you have some time. You can get up late on a Saturday morning and mosey in.
Come on in.
It's
go
okay.
to lunch
You can
and
be
then come
in your
on back.
sweats. That's all right. We don't care. We don't judge. And it's the perfect transition to our zombie fair, which is happening in October.
October 22nd.
October 22nd.
You're welcome.
And a lot of the same people will be participating. Tucson Zombie Walk is involved heavily in this post-apocalyptic fair. They're building sets. They're going to have all kinds of authentic things going on, and
the
it's the perfect transition.
walls.
The photo wall. It'll be the perfect transition from the post-apocalyptic fair to the zombie fair, where you can have your own zombie makeup put on. And this is professional grade makeup.
Yeah,
this isn't
Patrick and his group do amazing makeup.
This is Hollywood grade, fully professional makeup that looks real when you're standing in front of it.
These are the same guys
actually
behind
a
the
little
Tucson
scary.
Apocalypse.
Yes. These are very, very talented people. These are not people who just, paint flowers on your face for your kids.
As
These
well
are
as the
people
guys
really
who
know
did,
it.
the folks who did
yes.
Overwatch, the movie. Patrick and his crew did the special
local
effects for
movie
that.
that
A local movie that was made and played at the Loft.
Shout out to Patrick Reed. Shout out to Talia Lopez, who will be here with Constant Con. They'll be showing their
artist.
work. She is amazing artist. Constant Con is another place where if you're an artist here in Tucson, you can get your work shown and you can meet a lot of talented, interesting people. And if you want to shop local, go to Constant Con. You're going to be buying the work directly from the artists and supporting local in the most profound way possible. We're also going to have Paul Lowe, who is going to be here, who is a local director, actor, writer, all-around great guy. He just released a movie, and he's getting ready to release another one with one of the Scream Queens. I can't remember her name, but famous name dropping. He'll have to fill me in on that. But yeah, he's a very talented person. He will be here with his book. You'll be able to meet some people who are actually producing art in the real world and have a lot of fun. Come on out.
All right, and speaking of Constant Con, by the way, their calendar on Facebook has a bunch of fun stuff coming up. On August 20th, they've got the Draw Classic Comic Book Characters, creating classic-looking comic book heroes with James Babcock. They've got on the 21st of August, the Have Mike Will Travel voiceover for animation and narration with Katie Parker. And the big one they've got is the comic book kids comic book class. Learn step-by-step how to make a comic book in 3 weeks. This class is geared towards curious and creative kids between the ages of 10 and 15 looking to exercise their mind. It's a perfect after-school activity for inquire or RSVP by emailing them at constantconhq@gmail.com.
And Talia is actually part of teaching that class to your children. So no need to be bored after school.
Yeah, Talia is great with the
Talia
little ones.
is amazing. And then you get to meet Jessie and Yoda.
Oh, little Jessie.
Yes, her rescue dogs, her therapy dogs, who are adorable.
And for you adults, every Wednesday night at the Arbrigade,
Yeah.
9 to 1 at 350 East Congress Street. So for the adults, you can drink. The drink and draw is really funny because you have a lot of great artists. They do the whole pass the round. One artist does one cell, then passes it to the next artist, and they make these really cool little 5-cell comic book strips.
That is fantastic.
Which is, even if you can't go, follow them on Facebook, and they post them, which is some really cool stuff.
Oh, that is fun. That's even better than Drunken History.
I
Which I love Drunken History.
Drunken anything is always fun.
Drunken anything is fun.
Yes.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we can't sell beer here. If we could, we would. But we can't.
It's probably safer that way. For
It's
books.
probably people with sharp objects. That's okay. So have fun anyway.
So is there any other shout outs or anything like that you'd like to throw out there?
Well, tomorrow, at the end of the month, talk about the cosplay community, talk about crossover, the 501st Rebel Legion, Star Wars.
Dun, dun,
Yes,
dun, dun,
they
dun.
have been so amazing doing events here at Bookman Speedway.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yes, they're so good. Meet Chewbacca. You've got to
Last
meet
year was
Chewbacca.
amazing when I brought the
Yes.
gals down here for that one. The
it is-
pictures we got.
Outrageous how amazingly authentic these costumes are, and this is the real Chewbacca. It might as well be.
Well, the
He is
501st
amazing.
has very stringent guidelines as to what is acceptable for their,
So
They
it'll be
absolutely
the-
do.
It'll be the 501st and the Dune Sea Garrison.
Yeah, my Imperial officer uniform is not 501st quality, but I still have fun wearing it.
Well, they are actually hooked up with Disney Studios.
Mm-hmm.
So they're having an event with us that is their event at the end of August. It's August 27th. That again is a Saturday.
I will be
And
marking my
that's
calendar.
from 12 to 2. There'll be lots of dedicated story times for the little ones, but there'll be activities, photo booths, costume contest. We'll be showing some movies. There'll be a lot going on for that. But that is a gear up to Star Wars Reads Day, which, like I said, is a partnership directly with Disney Studios. It's a Disney-affiliated event. It happens nationwide, and we are the place in Tucson where you can participate in the official Star Wars Reads Day. And the 501st Rebel Legion does sponsor that. And so you'll look for that in October. But come on out.
Ooh.
Come on out at the end of the month. Get to meet these guys, see Chewie, get your picture taken with an actual Chewbacca.
All the kids love every year when they come out.
It
here for
is
that.
amazing. I just have to make sure I have plenty of fans on Chewbacca because he gets really hot.
Well,
That's a lot of fur.
Wookiee in Arizona.
It's a Wookiee in Arizona.
You need fans on Chewbacca because there's fans on
On
Chewbacca.
Yes. There are little tiny fans crawling all over Chewbacca, and he is the most tolerant Wookiee I've ever seen.
He is so adorable.
He is adorable. Yes. Thank goodness that Han Solo understands Wookiee. Because the rest of us don't really. So yeah, that'll be happening at the end of the month. Come check it out and get ready for Star Wars Reads, but don't miss our post-apocalyptic fair happening September 17th from 11 to 3 p.m.
It's going to be a fun next few months. You got
It
Star Wars
is.
in August, Apocalypse in September, and Zombies in October,
Zombies
and a
in
few Star
October.
Wars.
And some more Star Wars, and a Halloween party. There's always events here at Bookmans. You can go to the website. Bookmans.com, click on events, find out what we're doing, because we're always doing something.
And Danny, just to throw it out there at the end, if someone was interested in having an event at Bookmans, who would they reach out to?
Ah, that would be me. That would be me. There are two Danielles here at Bookmans, so I go by Danny. But you contact me at danielleb@bookmans.com. That's danielleb@bookmans.com, or call the store at 520-748-9555 and ask for me. We'll set it up. The
right.
events are always free for the vendors, free for the public. We don't charge.
Which is awesome, because I know
Yes.
so many of the vendors immediately when I was talking to them for the Wastelander event were like, how much is a table? I'm like, because they love you, it's free.
It's free. We never charge the vendors. We don't take a percentage of their sales. And to give a little kudos to us, I have had many, many, many vendors throughout all of our fairs, and the fairs run the gamut of all types. Vendors tend to make as much or more here at our fairs than they do at the cons once you consider the price of the table. So if you're a vendor and you're interested, get hooked up. You know,
Yeah.
you can actually make some serious money doing
When
it.
we vended at the Steampunk one, we made really good turnaround.
You
and
made really good
You
turnaround.
were so adorable working with us to find a spot since you're a last minute addition.
I will never turn anyone away. That's my motto. You might be in a corner in a rickety table, but you will be here.
Hey, I loved my corner. It was a great corner.
It was a great
an
corner.
It was a great corner.
Actually, right there in the middle of it.
And I get to hang out with Sarah from Comic Con.
That's right.
Tucson
See?
Comic Con. We made a friendship for life there.
A friend, and she is amazing. Sarah
She
from
is-
Comic Con is the woman that does everything in the universe. I don't know
Yep.
how she. I don't know how she does it.
We love and adore her as well.
Yes, she's amazing. But see, and that's a perfect example. You know, you get involved in one event, and all of a sudden, you know all these other people, and you're getting involved in all these other events. It's a very organic process here in Tucson because people are so accepting. So it's not where it's exclusive in any way. We don't click here in Tucson. We don't develop factions. It's all interchangeable, and you don't have to choose your genre. You can be any genre you like and as many as you like.
We all just want to like get together and enjoy the passion of the events and the passion of the genre, and just that we like something and want to share it. You know?
Yeah, it's the fun of it. It's the geeking out of it. And Tucson is truly an artistic community, and it's a community in every sense, very accepting way. You know, you want to make money as an artist. You want to do that, but you mostly want to get your art out there. And if you can do it while supporting your fellows, more's the better. And that's the whole idea about Bookmans. It's the whole idea of like, let's give something back to the community. Let's make this a bigger thing. Mm-hmm. That's why we don't charge.
And of course, Creative Play and Podcast will be there probably taking video and tons of pictures, because that's what we do.
And he makes the best videos. You guys have got to check out Creative Cosplay's videos. Talk about professional quality. Go on YouTube. Check those out. Those are amazing. You'll be impressed. You'll want him to do yours. You'll want him to do yours when you get involved in one of these.
Hey, we're actually talking some super secret talks about doing some podcasts for some folks, too.
You're listening to us now. It's just a phone call away.
Alrighty, guys. Like usual, thank you for listening. And if you have any questions for Danny or the Creative Play and Podcast Network, just shoot me an email at creativeplaypodcastnet@gmail.com. Alrighty. Thank you for listening.
Thanks.
Hey gamers, Jim here from Creative Play and Podcast Network. If you're in the Tucson area this September and October, I've got a special message for you.
Hey, this is Karen from RinCon. We are having our convention from September 30th through October 2nd here in Tucson, Arizona. Come out and play every kind of game under the sun with us. We've got role-playing, board games, minifigs, CCGs, we've got Artemis, we have panels with special guests, and this year the theme is Steampunk. So get out your, dust off your dirigibles, get out your chapeaus and put them on, come on down.
Thank you for listening to the Creative Play and Podcast Network. And feel free to enjoy our other shows, such as D&D Journey of the 5th Edition, and Scion Ragnarok and Roll, a Scion hero to Ragnarok story. Thank you for listening.